Heart greeting to everyone. Welcome you here in Ascension Platforms. Today we have, as usual, special interviews with our beloved high teacher, Alexandra. She teaches amazing stuff on the consciousness expansion, and she's been one of my old friends also. We have a lot of journey together, and always the road brought us together. And right now, as we are always bringing all the highest knowledge on the consciousness, on the quantum physics, this interview will be very special. We're going to blend a little bit more of the understanding of quantum physics, the expansion of the consciousness, and we're going to introduce something beautiful, which is a free talk. Will be presented by our beloved Alexandra. The free talk that will be longer, of course. That will be more into a private link because we're going so deep in the details. We bring a lot of research that would be somehow shocking a little bit to awaken the consciousness of the reality and the multidimensionality that we are. And also we might have also question and answers and a lot of details of beautiful ideas about how you can bring that expansion consciousness practically in our life and how you realize that we are always an active director in our reality.
Absolutely.
Welcome you here.
Thank you.
And today talk is about lucid dreaming, astral travels, remote viewing, all those beautiful ideas, and the story that she traveled around the world to experience, study, and witness, and collect all these ideas and share it with us here.
Yes.
Yes, so tell us first your exploration about the consciousness, and maybe you can start with you start interested about the out-of-body experience and the lucid dreaming and the consciousness, and then you start your study. Where do you want to start when tell the people?
Where I want to start, it was perhaps through my meditations when I realized that I can tap into something what is much more and much more exciting. I started having visions, I started having out-of-body experience, I started to astral travel. And I realized that I'm tapping into something really, really interesting, and I wanted to know more.
Now the wake-up call started and you're becoming more interested, and
Yes.
tap into remembering, start remembering that, okay, there is something that I should bring in here. Yeah.
And in fact, regarding the astral travel, it was maybe about 2012, I was way into my journey when I was told by my inner voice, but it was very strong and very loud, that I have to share that. And so I have to start teaching the astral travel. And so it took me a couple of years to put the workshop together, to really find the evidence, and most of it is, pretty much all of it is backed by science.
Yes.
Thanks to quantum science, lots of things have been out there, and we can research further, we can discover, even regarding psychology or medicine, lots of research has been done. And so the astral travel is pretty much a meditative method which is focusing on the omnipresence of our consciousness or our awareness. In other words, we can also call it our mind, and what we can do with it, where we can go, where we can explore, and moreover how we can apply it into our everyday life, how we can start seeing it through our reality.
Exactly, it become very important empowerment tools.
Yes.
Because previously, before the wake-up call, I would say, or remembering that we are an expanded infinite consciousness, we become like a sort of victim of reality, and we are separated, and we are always in this fears of running and competing. And the moment you tap into this consciousness, you realize that you are the active ingredient in your reality, and your consciousness actually affect the result and the reflection of the reality itself. And then this is one of the journeys together we were being into it, researching. It's like, did anyone talk about it? And we found out that there is a lot of researchers, a lot of scientists, a lot of people who's not actually spiritual. They just discovered this and realized that is the experiment on it is infinite.
Absolutely.
And you share with us a little bit on this idea of how you find the link in the quantum physics in some of the researchers that you met in Monroe Institute or your travels.
And perhaps the Monroe Institute was a huge learning for me, because everything was done by Robert Monroe, who sort of established the Monroe Institute, is done based on scientific research.
Yes.
And so many of the teachers are psychologists or doctors or physicists, and they contributed to this research, and the research is ultimately on consciousness.
Yes. I can't tap into this because I love Bob Monroe. He's not here anymore, but the institute is available. And he was the pioneer at that time, really long. It was 1960 or 1950 when he started, very old times. And at that time, the guy, he was not spiritual, but yet he tapped into those consciousness and expansion, and he started able to access a multidimensional state. And I remember one of the quote that they told him, go to India to study more about spirituality and ask the gurus. And he said, I'm not the type of person who's going to travel to India. I'm going to do research here. And then a lot of researchers and scientists joined him. And all those information, this will be one of our projects hopefully soon, with your support also, to bring those information of the researcher and the scientists who work on the consciousness, and they actually prove that through the quantum physics and through their experiment, the consciousness is infinite, and we can tap into something so big, and we can actually implement it and direct our reality. That's the empowerment that they get.
It is, because with our intention, we can sort of, in other words, really create what is it we want to create. But this is not only adventure, this is also learning. And so we're sort of combining the learning, the adventure, we're combining exploration of who we really truly are. As Bob Monroe, he says, you are more than the physical body.
More than physical body. This would
And
be the
perhaps,
same.
some people have that experience without any further knowledge, and they are confused. But the Astral Travel helps you to tap into it with your full awareness and learn how to use it, learn how to expand it, learn what to do with it, and use it into your advantage. Enhance your life and enhance the life of the others as
Absolutely.
well. And ultimately, this is our journey of consciousness.
Absolutely.
Really. How we can live in connection with one another, how we can live in oneness, and where are we in the position of the oneness as
Absolutely.
well.
This realization, it released the doubt. That's what I will feel to express about it. It released the doubt that you're still seeking that maybe not, is reality, I am victim. That will be released, and immediately you realize that you are an active participant of co-creating with reality and manifesting, and we call it the high frequency manifestation based on the consciousness. And that absolutely goes back to that the consciousness is actually part of the universe, and we are all connected. So share with us a little bit more about the steps or the sequence of those workshops. So the first workshop will be more.
So the first workshop, I sort of combined as much as information as I could. Information is also backed up by the science, because luckily for us there has been lots of science done on this research. And so the first level is called just Astral Travel Level 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's full on half day, really, perhaps 8 hours of the practice and learning, and you get into it through meditative practice. You experience what it is really, the Astral Travel.
Absolutely.
How can I feel it? What I can do about it? And you get the feel.
Yes.
Yeah?
So it will be a knowledge and get you into that state, and then practical tools to use it in your life and to experience actually the expanded consciousness. I would say that feeling is by itself is super empowering.
Oh yeah. And
Super empowering. You will witness that the connection that you have with all your reality and all your fears, all your disempowerment will be dissolved immediately.
Absolutely. And it sort of gives you, it connects you with your intuition, it connects you with your inspiration, with your imagination, and all that. All these are crucial components of who we really truly are, of our essence, of our awareness, of our mind, and the connection with others as well.
Yeah.
And so it leads to the level 2, which I called remote viewing, because the moment you start astral traveling, the moment you start connecting with your consciousness, you expand further.
Exactly.
And therefore you can start tapping into what seems to be external, yet on some level it's connected with you. And so remote viewing, it's a beautiful activity.
Time and space is not anymore limited.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so you experience how to transcend the time and space and how to explore what is really further from your
the limited perceived idea. That we base our perception about our limited senses, which is very minimum.
Yeah.
It's very minimum.
And so remote viewing, in other words, is also sensing with your mind an object or situation or a pet which is not within your vision.
Yes, tapping into a field, a multidimensional field.
Yeah, something like that. And so that is a beautiful ability to use in everyday life of exploring and sensing and knowing
and tapping
what
into
else
intuition.
Yes, tapping into intuition, tapping into telepathy as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you share with us a little bit about, because we want to share with you guys about that there is a research, not only research and scientists work on the remote viewing and tapping into this bending the time and space, that there is also in the military in US, there is a section who specialize in remote viewing. So it's if the military and many other industry actually we not all of them we know about, those people are not spiritual. Those people are scientists, researchers, and investigators. They putting money and research into the remote viewing and out of body experience or astral travel. That means there is a knowledge behind it, and there is a science behind it that is not just published outside in the media because it's not profitable to the industry. Maybe that's why.
Well, one part of remote viewing, perhaps this is the reason why it became recognized, is that with remote viewing you can get the feedback. And so you can really train to remote view, and immediately or in some time you get the feedback whether you got it right or not. And so maybe because of this it has been researched. And one good is the Monroe Institute. They did lots of research on remote viewing, and they supported lots of it by science and through experiments and experiences.
And one of them famous from the Monroe Institute also, famous researcher and scientist, Thomas Campbell, which is, he has books, he's a scientist. Of course, he turned to be eventually more aligned with spirituality, because science and quantum physics and those science is not separated from consciousness and spirituality in that sense. They are talking the same language. And we would love to even tap into this further and further in the talk that's coming soon. It will be free talk, and we'll stream it online on private. So if you like, stay tuned with us, put your comment on the video here. We'll answer those details in more depths, bring you proof, bring you practical tools. And also we are planning to have a part of the workshop, special webinars and training online to tap to you into your empowerment and realize that we have infinite access to the universe.
We do, yes.
And that will lead to the third workshop also.
Right, and so through the remote viewing and understanding of your own inherent abilities, you tap into the level 3, which really opens up our extrasensory perceptions, right? I call the level 3, I call it psychokinesis, because on some level, when you really tap into the consciousness, you also tap into the reality.
Yes.
And eventually, you have the knowledge and the experience of altering the reality. And that is really exciting.
Absolutely. Your frequency and your consciousness become entangled, as the experiment of the quantum physics entanglement, if you want to research it. You become entangled with the reality. You become aware of the entanglement. It was there. And then you can actually affect the result of the environment.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And so perhaps as a result of all these 3 levels, they sort of create a beautiful package through which you can take it as a vehicle of really happy life. Because awareness, empowerment, you tap into the essence of who you are. And you tap into your own wisdom, you tap into your own intuition, and on top of that, you know what to do with it.
Absolutely.
Well, Of course, it requires homework. It
Yes,
requires
you
the
need
practice.
to do your homework, you need to do your practice.
However,
absolutely,
the
always.
workshop helps you to give you the direction.
Yes, so practical tools, more optimized way to do it, absolutely. And of course, another part I would like to add, which is empower the whole idea, and I'm so happy to host Alexandra with us to bring this knowledge to you guys. For the people who's already into the field of spirituality or consciousness expansion, as we here in the Ascension platform, we always attract and connect with those awakened souls. I felt many times that the awakened people, or in the process of awakening and expanding their consciousness, they feel a little bit, they don't know how to explain to others that is still not in that field, not still in that awareness. This workshop, and especially the free talk, will give a lot of details, science details, researchers details, will answer many ideas about how those research and experiment already out there but not being collected, and we're going to give you on plate of gold.
Yeah.
You empower yourself whenever you talk about your experience on your meditation, on your healing power, on your tapping into the intuition. So the other person who is not aware yet on the conscious expansion, if he said, no, it's not possible, you can tell him, oh, by the way, there is a research. By the way, this is the experiment. By the way, it's out there everywhere. It's
And,
empowered the
yeah.
people who's joining.
We can see it in today's world as well, that it has influence. And perhaps one part of it is not only the quantum physics, but from the psychology point of view, altered states of consciousness.
Absolutely.
Right? Scientists, researchers, they already know there is a little bit more than the physical, and they are tapping into it. They're trying to understand it, and they're trying to, all the way measure it and somehow
Bring it in the data, present it. Yeah. So the idea is when it's not measured and experiment enough, they don't have enough data to back it up, and then the person who's meditating and he has an amazing expansion, he cannot tell to the person because it doesn't go in word. You need a collection of data to say, oh, this is my data, look at it, and there is it's backed up with another researcher, and then it empower everyone. And then this is what we are dreaming, all of us, that everyone remember our consciousness essence, remember this infinite power that we have in our consciousness, and we are all connected as the experiment of entanglement of the quantum physics.
On some level. And so perhaps the next science of the next millennia, it will probably be consciousness.
Absolutely, it has to.
Because the consciousness is not really bound to physicality. It's slowly showing us, and we are living it through all aspects of the science around, that it is expanding beyond the physical. And people having either voluntary or involuntary experiences of the astral travel, or these journeys, or these,
and they need to be explained to them, because some people they need some explanation and guidance for those amazing experiences. But if they are alone, as you're saying, they don't know what to do.
Then it doesn't make sense. You just need to have the other people and the additional knowledge how to process it.
Amazing. So this is what we are doing in this beautiful coming free talk. It will be a bit more longer. Alex will have her space to talk further and give more proof and practical tools, and answer some question from the audience. So please add your comment or your question, or follow us for the coming exciting free talk on astral travel, lucid dreaming also, and the expansion of the consciousness through remote viewing, and so on. And of course, after that, we will start the workshop, which is a beautiful 3 set of workshop or courses that I would say they are essential for anyone who is looking for expanding his consciousness and actually manifesting high frequency in their reality. This is the way. The more you remember, the more you know the tools, and you witness it, you start manifesting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you will know how to. It just completely raises your consciousness to another level, and you know how to operate from a little bit higher level of knowing and wisdom.
Yes,
perhaps.
and presence instead of fears and separation.
Yes.
That's what we always say here in the Ascension platforms. Join us for many videos and many interviews and exciting topics. and some of them will be more to webinars and longer version. The more you add your comment, the more you show interest, the more we can bring those kind of topics and bring awareness to yourself individually and into the collective, as we are in the awakening times, Ascension Awakening consciousness for everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you, and much love to everyone.